Hey there, and welcome to your personalized deep dive into the world of LLCs. Seems like everyone's buzzing about this business structure, and for good reason. Did you know that a whopping 71.7% of all partnership returns in the U.S. in 2021 were from LLCs?
That's 20 straight years of LLCs dominating this scene.
It really is.
What's fascinating is this popularity isn't just a fleeting trend. It highlights the shift we're seeing in how people approach business, especially when it comes to balancing flexibility and risk.
Absolutely. Our source, How to Start an LLC for Beginners, points out that a solid legal foundation is crucial, especially when it comes to choosing the right business structure. In fact, a surprising 2% of startups stumble right out of the gate due to legal issues around this very decision.
That's a great point. And that's precisely why we're diving deep today, to help you understand the ins and outs of LLCs so you can make the most informed choices for your unique situation.
All right, let's unpack this. First things first, what exactly is an LLC and why are they so popular?
An LLC, or limited liability company, is a unique blend of a partnership and a corporation. It offers the flexibility of a partnership, but with the added protection of limited liability similar to a corporation.
Okay, so it's like a hybrid structure, but what does limited liability really mean for me, practically speaking?
Think of it as a shield for your personal assets. In an LLC, your personal belongings, your house, car, savings are generally protected from business debts and lawsuits.
Yeah.
So if your LLC faces financial headwinds or legal challenges, those personal assets are typically shielded.
Got it. So that protection is a major advantage, especially when starting out. What other benefits do LLCs bring to the table?
Tax flexibility is a huge perk. LLCs can choose how they're taxed, potentially saving you a bundle. They can be taxed as a sole proprietorship, partnership, S corporation, or even a C corporation, whatever aligns best with their financial goals.
So there's a lot of room to optimize my tax strategy. And what about attracting investors? Does an LLC make that process easier?
It definitely can. LLCs have flexible profit-sharing arrangements, allowing you to structure deals that are appealing to investors. You can customize how profits are distributed, even if it doesn't perfectly align with ownership percentages.
That makes sense. Investors love flexibility. So we've got liability protection, tax advantages, and the potential to attract investors. Sounds like a pretty sweet deal, but I'm guessing there must be some downsides too, right?
Of course, no business structure is perfect. One of the main drawbacks is the cost. Forming and maintaining an LLC isn't free. You'll have initial filing fees, ongoing state fees, and potentially legal fees for drafting essential documents like an operating agreement.
Right. I guess any business structure will have some costs associated with it. What else should I be aware of when considering an LLC?
Here's a potential sticking point. If your ultimate goal is to secure funding from venture capitalists or angel investors, an LLC might not be the most attractive option. These investors often prefer the more familiar structure of corporations, especially C Corp.
So it's important to align my business structure with my long-term funding strategy. So assuming I'm leaning towards an LLC, are there different types to choose from?
There are indeed, and picking the right type is all about tailoring the structure to fit your specific needs. We have single-member LLCs, which are the most straightforward and ideal for solopreneurs.
That sounds like me. I'm starting out on my own.
Then a single-member LLC could be a great fit. We also have multi-member LLCs designed for collaborations or partnerships where pooling resources and expertise is key.
So if I decide to bring on a partner down the road, I'd likely switch to a multi-member structure. What other types are out there?
There are also PLLCs, or professional limited liability companies. These are specifically for licensed professionals like doctors, lawyers, or architects.
So PLLCs are tailored for specific professions. Are there any real-world examples of PLLCs that are thriving?
Absolutely. Stepfer Architects PLLC, based in Raleigh, North Carolina, is a great example. They offer a range of architectural services and have really flourished under the PLLC structure. It allows them to leverage the expertise of multiple licensed architects while maintaining that important liability protection.
Interesting. It seems choosing the right type of LLC is a crucial first step. What factors should I be considering when making this decision?
Think about your business type, your plans for partnerships, and the specific regulations that apply to your industry or profession. These are all key factors in determining the most suitable LLC structure for your venture.
Okay, got it. So once I've figured out the type of LLC that's right for me, what are the actual steps involved in setting it up? Walk me through the process.
All right, let's get down to brass tacks. First up, you need to choose a business name. And this is more than just picking something catchy. There are legal considerations too.
You mean there are rules around choosing a name?
Absolutely. Your name needs to be unique, memorable, easy to find online, and compliant with your state's naming regulations. It's a bit of a balancing act.
Makes sense. I wouldn't want to run into legal issues right off the bat. What else should I be thinking about when choosing a name?
You'll also want to consider trademarking your business name. This is especially important if you plan to operate in multiple states or have ambitions to expand your brand significantly.
Okay, so trademarking provides an extra layer of legal protection. What comes after I've nailed down the perfect name?
Next, you'll need to appoint a registered agent. This is an individual or company designated to receive legal documents on behalf of your LLC. Think of them as your official point of contact for legal and administrative matters.
Wait, so someone else can handle my important legal documents? That seems a little strange.
It might sound unusual, but it's a crucial element of maintaining legal compliance. A registered agent ensures that you never miss critical notices or deadlines.
Okay, I can see the value in that. So how do I go about appointing a registered agent? What are my options?
You have a couple of choices. You can appoint yourself if you reside in the state where your LLC is registered. You can also choose a business partner, friend, or family member. However, many LLCs opt for professional registered agent services.
What are the benefits of using a professional service?
They bring expertise and legal compliance, ensuring you don't miss any important filings. Plus, they provide an extra layer of privacy, as your personal address won't be publicly listed as your LLC's contact information.
Right, that privacy aspect is definitely appealing. So after I've sorted out my registered agent, what's next on the checklist?
Now it's time to file your Articles of Organization with your state. This is the official document that establishes your LLC's legal existence. Think of it as the birth certificate of your LLC.
Okay, so this document makes my LLC officially recognized by the state. What kind of information is typically included in the Articles of Organization?
You'll usually need to provide your LLC's name, the address of your primary business location, the name and address of your registered agent, and other details specific to your state's requirements.
Got it. So, Articles of Organization check. Are there any other crucial documents I need to prepare?
One more essential document is your LLC's operating agreement.
I've heard of operating agreements, but I'm not entirely sure what they are. Can you explain?
Think of it as your LLC's rulebook. It outlines the ownership structure, management roles, responsibilities of each member, how profits and losses will be shared, and procedures for making decisions or handling conflicts.
So it's basically a roadmap to prevent disagreements and ensure everyone is on the same page, especially if I have partners. Does it need to be super formal and complicated?
Not necessarily. While it's a legal document, it can be tailored to your specific needs and level of formality. You can keep it relatively simple, especially in the early stages of your LLC.
That's a relief. I'm all about keeping things clear and straightforward. So I've got my name, registered agent, articles of organization, and operating agreement all set. Anything else I need to do to get my LLC up and running?
There are a few more vital steps to ensure smooth and compliant business operations. These steps are essential not just for legal reasons, but also for building a solid foundation for your LLC's success.
Okay, let's hear them. What else do I need to tackle?
First up is obtaining an employer identification number, or EIN. It's a unique 9-digit number assigned by the IRS to identify your business.
So it's like a social security number for my LLC.
Exactly. It's essential for various business activities, including opening a bank account, hiring employees, and filing taxes. Even if you're a single-member LLC without employees, you might still need an EIN for certain tax classifications or to open a business bank account.
Got it. Sounds like an EIN is non-negotiable. What about finances? Do I need a separate bank account for my LLC?
Absolutely. Separating your personal and business finances is crucial for several reasons. It simplifies bookkeeping, protects your personal assets in case of legal issues, and helps maintain that limited liability protection we talked about earlier.
Right. Keeping those finances distinct is essential for protecting my personal assets. Any tips for choosing the best bank account for my LLC?
Consider factors like monthly transaction limits, cash deposit limits, online and mobile banking features, interest rates on deposits, and the availability of physical branches if you prefer in-person banking.
Okay, so I need to do my research and find an account that aligns with my LLC's specific needs. What else should I be thinking about in terms of setting up my business operations?
Licenses and permits are crucial for operating legally. Depending on your industry and location, you might need specific licenses and permits to conduct business activities.
So licenses and permits ensure I'm playing by the rules and operating within the law. How do I figure out which ones I need?
Your best resource is your state's business licensing agency or website. They usually have comprehensive guides and resources to help you identify the necessary permits for your specific business type.
Makes sense. I wouldn't want to miss any crucial licenses or permits, anything else I need to have in place before I officially launch my LLC.
One final, but incredibly important step: securing business insurance. It's crucial to protect yourself from potential risks and liabilities that could arise during your business operations.
Okay, business insurance is definitely on my to-do list. What kind of insurance coverage should I be considering?
General liability insurance is a must-have. It protects your business from claims of bodily injury, property damage, or personal and advertising injury caused by your operations.
So if a client gets injured on my property, or if I accidentally damage a client's equipment, I'd be covered.
Exactly. You'll also want to consider business income insurance, which provides coverage if your operations are disrupted due to unforeseen events like natural disasters or a fire. It helps replace lost income and cover ongoing expenses, allowing you to get back on your feet more quickly.
So business income insurance acts as a safety net if something unexpected forces me to temporarily shut down.
Precisely. And depending on your industry and the specific nature of your business, you might need additional coverage, such as professional liability insurance, data breach insurance, or workers' compensation insurance.
Wow, so much to think about when it comes to insurance. How do I know what type of insurance is best for my LLC?
Assessing your specific risks is key. Think about your industry, location, the size of your business, the type of work you do, and the potential liabilities you might face.
Right, it all boils down to understanding my unique business and its needs.
Absolutely. And don't hesitate to consult with an insurance broker or agent. They can help you analyze your risks and recommend the most suitable insurance policies to provide comprehensive protection.
Great advice. I'll definitely do my research and seek expert guidance on insurance. So we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about what an LLC is, its advantages and disadvantages, the different types of LLCs, the steps involved in setting it up, and the essential elements of running a compliant and successful LLC.
Yes, and remember, thoroughly understanding these aspects is key to making informed decisions that will set your LLC up for success.
Totally. And speaking of success, let's move on to a crucial aspect of running any business: financial management.
Absolutely. We've laid the groundwork, and now it's time to delve into the financial strategies that will help your LLC thrive.
Perfect. I'm ready to learn how to manage my LLC's finances like a pro. All right, let's dive into the world of LLC finances. I know it's not the most glamorous topic, but it's definitely crucial for success. Where do we even begin?
Let's start with one of the cornerstones of financial management for any LLC: bookkeeping.
Okay, bookkeeping. I get that it's important, but I'm not really sure where to start. What are the basics?
First, you need to choose a bookkeeping method that aligns with your LLC's needs. There are two main methods: cash-based accounting and accrual-based accounting.
Cash-based versus accrual-based. Could you break those down for me? How do they differ, and which one would be the right fit for my LLC?
Cash-based accounting is the simpler approach. You record income when you receive it and expenses when you actually pay them. It's a very straightforward method, often used by smaller businesses or those with relatively simple financial transactions.
So cash-based is all about tracking the actual flow of money in and out of my business. What about accrual-based accounting?
Accrual-based accounting is a bit more complex. You record income when it's earned, regardless of when you receive payment. Similarly, you record expenses when they're incurred, even if you haven't paid them yet.
So accrual-based focuses on recognizing revenue and expenses as they occur, even if the cash hasn't actually changed hands yet. It sounds like this method might provide a more accurate picture of my LLC's overall financial health.
You're right. Accrual-based accounting is often preferred for larger businesses or those with more complex transactions, as it provides a more comprehensive and accurate view of your financial performance over time.
Got it. So how do I decide which method is best for me?
Consider factors like the size and complexity of your LLC, the volume of your transactions, and your comfort level with accounting principles. If you're just starting out and have relatively simple transactions, cash-based might be sufficient. But as you grow, or if your transactions become more complex, accrual-based could be a better choice.
Okay, that makes sense. I'll keep those factors in mind. What about bookkeeping software? Do I need to use a specialized program, or can I just stick with spreadsheets?
Spreadsheets can work for very basic bookkeeping, but I strongly recommend using dedicated bookkeeping software. It streamlines the entire process, automates tasks, reduces the risk of errors, and provides valuable financial reports that can really guide your decision-making.
All right, sounds like software is the way to go. Are there any particular programs that you recommend for LLCs?
There are several excellent options available, each with its own strengths. QuickBooks is a popular and widely used choice, known for its comprehensive features, user-friendliness, and scalability. FreshBooks is another great option, especially for service-based businesses, as it excels in invoicing and expense tracking. And if you're looking for a free option that still offers robust features, Wave Accounting is worth considering.
Wow, so many choices. I'll definitely check those out. What about working with an accountant? Is that something I should consider even if I'm using bookkeeping software?
Having a trusted accountant on your team is incredibly valuable, even if you're comfortable with the basics of bookkeeping. They can provide expert guidance on tax planning, financial strategy, and more complex accounting matters. They can also review your books periodically to ensure accuracy and compliance.
Right, so an accountant can act as a financial advisor, helping me navigate the more complicated aspects of managing my LLC's finances.
Exactly. They can help you optimize your tax strategy, identify potential deductions or credits you might be eligible for, and ensure you're meeting all your tax obligations. Having that expert guidance can save you money and reduce a lot of stress in the long run.
That's definitely reassuring. I'll seriously consider bringing an accountant on board. So we've talked about bookkeeping and the importance of potentially working with an accountant. What's the next essential element of managing my LLC's finances?
Let's talk about business budgeting. It's an essential tool for planning, tracking, and controlling your LLC's finances.
Okay, budgeting. It's something I know I should be doing, but I'm not sure where to start. What are the key principles of creating a solid business budget?
The first principle is knowing your income. Accurately estimate your LLC's expected revenue for the budget period, taking into account all your income streams. This projection forms the foundation of your entire budget.
So step one is forecasting my income as realistically as possible. What comes after that?
Next, you need to identify and categorize your expenses. This includes fixed costs like rent or salaries, which remain relatively stable over time. It also includes variable costs, which fluctuate based on your business activity, such as marketing expenses or the cost of raw materials if you're in a production-based business.
Okay, so I need to track both fixed and variable expenses and anticipate how they might change over time.
That's right. Once you've mapped out your income and expenses, you can start allocating funds. Determine how much you'll spend in each category, making sure that your total expenses don't exceed your projected income.
Makes sense. It's all about living within my means and making sure my spending aligns with my income. Is there anything else I should keep in mind when creating a budget?
Don't forget to include a buffer for unexpected expenses. Things happen. Having an emergency fund or a financial cushion built into your budget can help you navigate unexpected challenges without completely derailing your business.
That's a great point. I'll definitely make sure to set aside some funds for those just-in-case scenarios. So once I've created my initial budget, is my work done or is there more to it?
Budgeting is a dynamic process, not a one-time task. It's crucial to regularly compare your actual income and expenses to your budgeted figures. This allows you to spot any discrepancies or variances and make necessary adjustments to your budget as you go.
So it's about regularly monitoring my progress and making course corrections along the way to stay on track. Any tips for effectively using my budget and ensuring it remains a relevant tool for managing my finances?
Schedule regular budget reviews, perhaps monthly or quarterly. These reviews will help you stay informed about your financial health, identify any emerging trends, and adapt your budget as your business evolves.
Okay, I'll make sure to build those budget check-ins into my schedule. What about different types of budgets? Is there a one-size-fits-all approach or are there variations I should be aware of?
There are actually several types of budgets, each designed for specific purposes or situations. The most common types are static budgets, performance-based budgets, and variance analysis budgets.
Could you explain those different types in more detail? What are their key characteristics and how do I know which one is the right fit for my LLC?
A static budget is fixed and doesn't change even if your actual income or expenses fluctuate. It's a good starting point for forecasting and setting initial financial goals, but it might not be the most flexible option if your business experiences significant changes in revenue or expenses.
So a static budget is like a baseline, a stable reference point for my initial financial planning. What about performance-based budgets?
Performance-based budgets, as the name suggests, focus on outcomes and results. Instead of allocating funds solely based on historical spending patterns, you allocate resources to activities or departments that directly contribute to achieving specific business goals or key performance indicators.
So it's about prioritizing spending on activities that demonstrably drive growth and generate measurable results. And what about variance analysis budgets?
Variance analysis budgets are all about comparing your actual financial performance to your budgeted figures, highlighting any differences or variances. This analysis can be incredibly insightful because it helps you pinpoint areas where you might be overspending or underperforming, allowing you to make data-driven adjustments.
So variance analysis provides a deeper understanding of the gaps between my planned budget and what's actually happening in my business, helping me identify areas for improvement.
Precisely. Each type of budget has its own strengths and limitations. The best choice for your LLC will depend on factors like the size and complexity of your business and the level of detail you need for financial management.
Okay, I'm starting to see how choosing the right budget type is an important decision in itself. I'll definitely research the different options to figure out the best fit for my LLC. So far, we've covered bookkeeping, working with accountants, and budgeting. What other essential financial concepts should I understand to effectively manage my LLC?
Now let's shift our focus to your LLC's management structure. This outlines how your business will be run, who has the authority to make decisions, and how responsibilities are distributed among the owners or members.
Okay, management structure. It makes sense to think about this aspect as well. I'm assuming there are different models to choose from. What are the most common management structures for LLCs?
The two most common structures are member-managed and manager-managed LLCs.
Could you break down those two structures for me? I'm curious about the key differences and how do I determine the best structure for my LLC?
In a member-managed LLC, all owners or members actively participate in the day-to-day operations and decision-making of the business. They share management responsibilities and collectively make decisions.
So it's a collaborative approach where everyone has a voice and is directly involved in running the business. What about manager-managed LLCs?
In a manager-managed LLC, the members choose one or more managers who might or might not be members themselves to handle the day-to-day operations and make major decisions for the business. These managers have the authority to act on behalf of the LLC, while the members take a more passive role, similar to shareholders in a corporation.
So it's more like a traditional corporate structure where there's a clear distinction between ownership and management.
Exactly. The manager-managed structure can be a good fit for LLCs with a larger number of members when members have diverse skill sets, or if the members simply prefer a more hands-off approach to the day-to-day management of the business.
Okay, those distinctions make sense. So how do I choose between a member-managed and a manager-managed structure for my LLC?
It depends on several factors. Consider the size of your LLC, the number of members involved, the desired level of member involvement, the complexity of your business operations, and your comfort level with delegating management responsibilities.
Right, it's about carefully considering my specific circumstances and choosing the structure that aligns best with my needs and goals.
Exactly. And it's crucial to clearly outline your chosen management structure in your LLC's operating agreement. This document will specify the roles, responsibilities, and decision-making authority of each member or manager, preventing potential confusion or conflicts down the road.
Okay, so the operating agreement is not just about the legal framework, but also about clearly defining how the LLC will be managed and run. What about the responsibilities of LLC owners? Whether I'm actively involved in management or not, what key areas should I understand to ensure I'm managing my ownership effectively?
Great question. As an LLC owner, you have several responsibilities that are crucial for the success and compliance of your business. Let's start with your financial rights and obligations. As an owner, you have the right to share in the LLC's profits. This is typically determined based on your ownership percentage or is outlined in your operating agreement.
So my share of the profits is generally linked to my ownership stake in the LLC. What about contributions to the business? Are there any financial obligations I need to be aware of as an owner?
You might be required to make capital contributions to the LLC. These contributions can take the form of money, property, or even services. Your operating agreement will usually specify the amount and timing of these contributions.
So being an LLC owner isn't just about sharing in the profits, it also often involves contributing to the LLC's financial resources.
Exactly. And remember to maintain that limited liability protection we've discussed. It's crucial to keep your personal and business finances completely separate. Avoid any commingling of funds.
Okay, I'll make sure those financial boundaries are crystal clear.
Yep.
What about my legal responsibilities as an LLC owner? Are there any specific legal duties I need to understand and uphold?
Absolutely. One of the most fundamental legal concepts for LLC owners is fiduciary duty. This duty requires you to act in the best interests of the LLC and avoid any conflicts of interest. In essence, it means putting the needs and well-being of the LLC ahead of your personal interests when making decisions.
So it's about acting ethically and responsibly, making decisions that benefit the LLC as a whole, even if those decisions aren't always aligned with my personal preferences.
That's precisely right. Fiduciary duty is a cornerstone of business law, and failing to uphold this duty can have serious legal and financial consequences for you as an owner.
Okay, I'll definitely make sure I'm always mindful of my fiduciary duty as an LLC owner. What about compliance with legal formalities? Are there any specific procedures or requirements I need to be aware of and follow diligently?
Yes, there are. LLCs are required to adhere to certain legal formalities. These might include holding regular meetings, keeping accurate and up-to-date records of business activities and decisions, and properly documenting all important decisions.
So it's not just about running the business, it's also about ensuring that I'm following the proper legal procedures and documenting everything correctly.
Exactly. These formalities are important because they help demonstrate that your LLC is operating as a separate legal entity. This separation helps maintain that vital, limited liability protection for you as an owner.
Got it. Compliance and proper documentation are key. I'll make sure to stay organized and follow those procedures meticulously. Now, what about hiring help? If I decide to bring on additional support for my LLC, what are my options and what should I consider when making those decisions?
When it comes to bringing on additional support, you have two main options: hiring employees or working with independent contractors. Understanding the distinction between these two categories is crucial, as there are significant legal and tax implications depending on how you classify the individuals you work with.
Okay, employees versus contractors. I know
Yeah.
it's an important distinction, but I'm not completely clear on the details. Could you elaborate on the key differences and help me understand when it's appropriate to choose one option over the other?
Of course, employees are individuals who work directly for your LLC under your control and direction. You typically control their work hours, assign specific tasks, provide them with the tools and resources they need to do their jobs, and they receive regular wages or salaries, often with benefits like health insurance or paid time off.
So with employees, I have more control over their work and more responsibilities as an employer, such as providing certain benefits and withholding taxes from their paychecks. What about independent contractors? How does that relationship differ?
Independent contractors are self-employed individuals or businesses that provide services to your LLC on a project basis defined by a contract. They have much more autonomy over their work schedule, the methods they use, and the tools they choose. They're also responsible for their own taxes and benefits.
So contractors are essentially their own businesses, and I engage with them for specific projects or tasks rather than having them work for me directly as employees.
Exactly. Choosing between employees and independent contractors is a strategic decision that depends on several factors, including the type of work involved, the level of control you require, your budget, and your long-term staffing needs.
Okay, it's a decision that requires careful thought and consideration. What are some key things to look at when trying to correctly classify workers as employees or independent contractors?
The IRS has established guidelines to help determine the correct classification of workers. These guidelines focus on three main areas: behavioral control, financial control, and the nature of the relationship.
Could you break those down for me? How do those factors contribute to determining worker classification?
Behavioral control refers to who has the right to direct and control how the work is done. If you, as the LLC owner, have the right to control or dictate how the worker performs their tasks, that suggests an employer-employee relationship.
So if I'm closely managing their day-to-day activities and giving specific instructions on how they should complete their tasks, they are more likely to be classified as employees.
That's right. Financial control focuses on how the worker is paid and whether they are reimbursed for expenses. Employees typically receive regular wages or salaries, have taxes withheld from their paychecks, and might be reimbursed for work-related expenses. Independent contractors, on the other hand, typically invoice for their services, cover their own expenses, and are responsible for paying their own taxes directly to the IRS.
So the payment arrangements and how expenses are handled can be strong indicators of whether someone should be classified as an employee or a contractor. What about the nature of the relationship? How does that factor into worker classification?
The nature of the relationship considers factors like the existence of a written contract, the expected duration of the work arrangement, and whether benefits, such as health insurance or paid time off, are provided. Employees usually have long-term or indefinite work relationships, might receive benefits, and their relationship with the employer is often formalized through employment contracts. Independent contractors, on the other hand, often work on projects for a specific duration, typically operate under written contracts outlining the scope of work, and don't receive traditional employee benefits.
Okay, so the presence of a contract, the length of the work arrangement, and the provision of benefits are all relevant factors in worker classification.
Exactly. Correctly classifying your workers is incredibly important to avoid legal and financial issues. Misclassifying an employee as an independent contractor can lead to significant penalties from the IRS, back taxes, and potential legal claims from the worker.
Wow, those are some serious consequences. I'll definitely be extremely diligent in ensuring that I classify my workers accurately. We've covered a lot of ground on financial management and legal considerations for LLCs. What about the less pleasant but equally important topic of dissolving an LLC? It's not something I want to dwell on right now, but I know it's important to understand the process just in case.
You're absolutely right. It's not the most exciting thing to think about when you're starting a business, but understanding the process of dissolving your LLC is important for handling the situation properly if it ever becomes necessary.
Okay, let's dive into it. What are some common reasons why an LLC might need to be dissolved?
There are a few different reasons. Voluntary dissolution occurs when the members collectively decide to close the business. This could be due to a variety of factors, such as achieving their initial goals, retiring from the business, or deciding to pursue other opportunities.
So it can be a planned and amicable decision to end the LLC's journey. What about situations where the dissolution isn't voluntary?
That's called administrative dissolution, and it's generally less pleasant. It occurs when the state forces the LLC to close, usually due to non-compliance with state regulations. This might happen if the LLC fails to file required annual reports or doesn't pay state taxes.
So administrative dissolution is basically a consequence of not following the rules and maintaining proper compliance.
Exactly. Other reasons for dissolution could include insurmountable financial challenges like overwhelming debt or consistently declining revenue. Legal issues or irreconcilable disagreements among members could also lead to the decision to dissolve the LLC.
So there's a range of reasons, both voluntary and involuntary, that could ultimately lead to an LLC's closure. Assuming it's a voluntary dissolution, what are the steps involved in properly closing down my LLC?
The first step is formally documenting the decision to dissolve. This typically involves holding a meeting of all members voting on the dissolution and recording the decision in the official meeting minutes.
So it starts with a clear agreement among the members to dissolve the LLC. What comes next?
You'll need to file articles of dissolution with your state. This document officially notifies the state that your LLC is ceasing operations and is no longer active.
So filing the articles of dissolution makes the dissolution official from a legal standpoint.
That's right. Once you file those articles of dissolution, it's important to notify all relevant parties. This includes creditors, clients, employees, and any other stakeholders who need to be aware of the LLC's closure.
So it's about communicating the dissolution openly and transparently to everyone who is involved with the LLC.
Precisely. Transparency is key. After you've notified everyone, you need to settle all outstanding debts and financial obligations of the LLC. This includes paying off any creditors, collecting any outstanding receivable from clients, and closing all business bank accounts.
So it's about wrapping up all the LLC's financial affairs in a responsible and orderly manner.
Exactly. And finally, you'll distribute any remaining assets to the members. This distribution is typically done according to their ownership percentages as specified in the operating agreement.
So once all debts are settled, any remaining value is divided among the owners.
That's right. It's important to note that the specific steps and requirements for dissolving an LLC can vary from state to state.
Okay, so I'll need to research the specific regulations in my state to make sure I'm following the proper procedures. What about alternatives to dissolution? Are there other exit strategies if I decide I want to step away from my LLC?
Yes, there are other options to consider. Selling your LLC is one common alternative. This involves finding a buyer who is willing to purchase your entire business. The business can then continue operating under new ownership.
So instead of shutting down the business, I could find someone to take it over and continue running it.
Exactly. Another option is to go public through an initial public offering, or IPO. This involves offering shares of your LLC to the public for the first time, transforming your company from a privately held company to a publicly traded one.
Wow, going public sounds like a major milestone. It probably involves a lot of complexities and regulatory hurdles.
It definitely does. An IPO requires significant preparation, legal expertise, and compliance with all applicable securities regulations.
Okay, so going public is typically for businesses that have reached a certain level of maturity and are ready for that level of growth and public scrutiny.
That's right. A final exit strategy to consider is liquidation. This involves selling off the LLC's assets, using the proceeds to pay off any remaining debts, and then distributing any remaining funds to the members.
So liquidation is different from selling the entire business as a going concern. It's about winding down the business, settling all accounts, and distributing the remaining value to the owners.
You've got it. Each exit strategy has its own implications and considerations, both financial and legal. Choosing the right one for your LLC will depend on a number of factors, including your goals, financial health of your business market conditions, and your long-term vision for the company.
Okay, so it's another major decision that requires thoughtful planning and consideration. It seems we've covered just about everything you need to know to get your LLC up and running, from the initial setup and legal considerations to financial management and even eventual exit strategies.
We have. But before we wrap things up, let's make sure you're aware of the resources available to support you along the way. Starting and running a business can feel overwhelming at times, but there's a wealth of support out there for LLC owners, especially in the U.S.
That's reassuring to hear. Where can I find reliable information and guidance? Are there any specific organizations or resources you recommend? Absolutely. Any recommendations for where to start?
The Small Business Administration, or SBA, is a fantastic resource. They offer a ton of information tailored specifically for small businesses,
Like what?
including detailed guides, helpful publications, and even online tools to help you navigate the often complex world of taxes and regulatory requirements. And here's a bonus. They even have funding programs.
Hold on, funding programs through the SBA. I had no idea. That could be a game changer, especially in the early stages. But what about more personalized support? Are there organizations that offer hands-on guidance like mentoring or training opportunities?
You're in luck. The SBA also has this incredible network of small business development centers, or SBDCs, located all across the country. They provide localized, one-on-one support and guidance.
Really?
Imagine having access to free counseling services and affordable training programs,
Covering what?
covering everything from crafting a winning business plan to mastering your financial management skills.
Free counseling. That's incredible. I'll definitely be looking for my local SBDC. What about finding a mentor? Is there an organization that can connect me with experienced business professionals who can provide insights and guidance?
There is. SCORE is a nonprofit organization made up of retired executives and seasoned business leaders who volunteer their time to mentor new business owners.
So cool.
They can offer invaluable advice and a fresh perspective based on their own real-world experiences. And the best part, their mentoring services are completely free.
Free mentoring from seasoned pros. That's a resource I won't be passing up. I'm adding SCORE to my list. Any other organizations worth exploring?
Absolutely. If you're looking for legal advice or support specifically for small businesses, the National Association for the Self-Employed, or NAS, is an excellent resource. They offer a variety of services tailored for entrepreneurs and small business owners,
Like what?
including legal guidance options for health insurance, educational materials, and even advocacy efforts on behalf of small businesses.
Wow, so many incredible resources available. I was feeling a bit overwhelmed before, but now I feel much more confident and prepared knowing I have this support system to tap into.
That's fantastic to hear. And that was our goal with this deep dive, to empower you with the knowledge, insights, and tools you need to launch your LLC with confidence.
You've definitely achieved that goal. This deep dive has been incredibly informative and engaging. Before we wrap up, is there anything else I should be thinking about as I prepare to take the leap and launch my LLC? Any final words of wisdom?
Starting an LLC is a big step, and it takes careful planning, thorough preparation, and an ongoing commitment to learning and adapting. Remember to stay organized, keep meticulous records, and don't hesitate to reach out for expert advice whenever you need it. Most importantly, embrace the entrepreneurial journey with enthusiasm and a willingness to continuously learn and grow.
I love that. Embrace the journey and never stop learning. That's excellent advice to take to heart. Thank you so much for guiding us through the world of LLCs. It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
The pleasure was all mine. I wish you the very best in your entrepreneurial endeavors. Remember, with the right knowledge, dedication, and a bit of courage, you could achieve amazing things with your LLC.
And to all our listeners, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of LLCs. We hope you found it informative, insightful, and inspiring. Remember to check out the show notes for links to all the fantastic resources we discussed today. And until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep diving deep. And as you embark on your own LLC journey, I leave you with this thought. What emerging trends or innovations do you think will shape the future of LLCs in the coming years?